This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. Now let's get on to it, man. I got my boy Jalik the leader in the building. I got my boy Richy Rich in the building. Let's get them salutations out the way. We're gonna start with Jalik the leader. What's up, man?
I'm feeling amazing. Been to the gym. Once again, we talked this basketball. It's almost the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals. The referees haven't been acting crazy yet, but we'll see coming up. So, yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
That's what's up. Richy Rich, man. What's up? Talk to us, bro.
What's up, man? Good, feeling good. Back at it again, man. Yesterday was part one. Today is part two. We're gonna go into this basketball, like Jalik the leader said. Uh, got some nice topics for you guys. Hey, man, let's get after it. Let's get ready to go.
All right. All right. Now let's talk about it, man. The Los Angeles Lakers are up 3-1 against the Houston Rockets. You see that they came in. We talked about this yesterday. We just talked about it. So I have to say, in a prediction, King strikes again. In a prediction, King strikes again. We said that when it comes to LeBron James and it comes to James Harden, LeBron James is a high-octane beta, a.k.a. alpha wannabe. James Harden is a pure beta supreme. There's levels to this stuff, man. And the gears is LeBron James is just higher on the pecking order. He's not the alpha kind of guy. He's not the Kawhi Leonard. He's not the Kevin Durant. But when we're talking about James Harden, we're talking about the Dame Dollars of the world. We're talking about the Luka Doncics of the world. LeBron James will straight ramalang these types of people because LeBron James has an advantage. All we have to do is look at head-to-head matchups with LeBron James versus James Harden. I mean, it's ridiculous what this head-to-head matchups look like, man. LeBron James has this guy beat so ridiculously, it's not even funny. It's damn near embarrassing just talking about it. They've played 19 head-to-head games, man. They've gone back and forth with each other 19 freaking times. And LeBron James has been the victor of that, obviously. He's had the spoils. He's averaged 27.4 points, 6.6 assists, 6.8 assists, 6.8 rebounds to James Harden, 24.2, 6.6, and 6.1. The bottom line is when you look at the games that's played between LeBron James and you look at the games that's played between James Harden, the bottom line is LeBron James has this guy won. He got this guy done up. We're talking about 30 games played, 21 in the regular season, 9 in the playoffs. And when we look at the 30 games, LeBron is 18-12 against James Harden in the regular season, where, it doesn't freaking matter. And then he's 7 out of 2 against James Harden in the playoffs, where it matters the most, where legends are made. Salute to you, Onita. The bottom line is we have to look at LeBron James or we have to look at James Harden. See, I have to tell people I'm not a LeBron James hater. Let's make that very clear. I don't know LeBron James to hate LeBron James. I just tell the truth about LeBron James. Let me say it again. I don't know who LeBron James is for me to be a hater of LeBron. I just tell the ultimate truth about LeBron James. And the ultimate truth about LeBron James is simply this. LeBron James doesn't cut the mustard. LeBron James is not that dude. And when we look at LeBron James as it relates to James Harden even more so doesn't cut the mustard. James Harden even more so is not that dude. James Harden is a bona fide choke artist. I don't know how many times I have to tell people this stuff. Salute to you, Ben Castro. He is a bona fide choker. I don't know how many times I have to say this. So this guy right here has showcased himself in the NBA playoffs when he played against the likes of a Stephen Curry. And what happened in that playoff series? He got exposed. Stephen Curry is just like LeBron James, a high-octane beta, a.k.a. alpha wannabe. These guys give you the impressions that they have the alpha-like game, but they lack the fullness thereof. What do I mean when I say high-octane beta, a.k.a. alpha wannabe? Here's LeBron James' high-octane beta, a.k.a. alpha wannabe game. LeBron James is allergic to the moment. He doesn't hit free throws, and he's afraid of the moment at the highest levels. Then you look at Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry has the same problem. He makes bad situational plays in key pressurized moments. James Harden is even worse. Every time James Harden is in the regular season, this guy can put up stats like nobody's business. But it's like Kobe Bryant tried to tell him so many years ago, but he wouldn't pay attention. He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't get the message. The message was as simple as this. Look here, James Harden, that ISO game that you play is not going to work. This is why Daryl Morey needs to be fired. This was the same fool that said that James Harden is better, dare I say better, than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Yes, we're going to talk about that. This same James Harden, a guy who can't beat prominent teams in prominent postseason situations, but yet he's better than Michael Jordan. Does that make any sense to you guys? You see, this is the stuff that He Knows the Sport is talking about. You guys have to look at the NBA playoffs and judge these players at the highest levels. This platform is all about judging basketball at its highest levels. And the highest levels is as simple as this. We need to judge the difference between players that are geppettos, i.e. ambidextrous type of players, players that can play both offensively and defensively as it relates to an opposition to players that are just one side of the ball equation type of players. Luka Doncic is a one side of the ball equation type of player. Dame Dollar is a one-sided ball, one-sided equation type of player. James Harden is a one-sided equation type of player. These types of players get exposed in the NBA playoffs. And if I had to have a side of the equation type of game, it would be defense, not offense. Because in the NBA playoffs, offense gets the glory, but defense wins championships. You need defense to shut teams down. You need defense to win championships. And when it's all said and done, playoff basketball is primed on three categories: defense, rebounds, and free throws. These are three categories that are not sexy, especially in today's NBA. People want to see basketball players score baskets. They want to see them put the basket in the hole because that's the sexy thing to do. But no one wants to talk about the dirty work that needs to be done. Defense, the dirty work that needs to be done. Rebounding, the dirty work that needs to be done. Hitting your fucking free throws. You got to do these things in order for you to get to the next level. This is what basketball is all about. And if you're not doing this, how can you position yourself to win basketball games? And then you just took James Harden and then you added Russell Westbrook. Two guys that have the same pure beta supreme mindset on the basketball court. You know what's the difference between Russell Westbrook and James Harden? And I've said this before. They both have ultra opposite situations going on, but it's the same side of the coin. The ultra opposite is this. When you look at James Harden, he has a alpha-like ability when he's playing basketball in terms of creating stats, but he lacks the alpha mentality. Russell Westbrook has the alpha mentality. He lacks the alpha game. So you know what that is? That's called a half-truth. And you guys want to know what translation of half-truth is? It's a lie. That means they are not the truths on the basketball court. When you look at a true alpha on the basketball court, you got to think of Kawhi, Leonard, and what he brings to the table. This guy right here, he dominates the basketball court on so many levels. And then at the same time, you also have to look at the other aspect of Kevin Durant. The guy is a two-sided of the equation type of basketball player. He dominates the basketball game on both sides of the equation. This is the difference. This is the delineation. This is the distinction, and this is the separation between guys that are complete package players and guys that are not. And you want to know what's the common denominator with Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard? These are Kobe Bryant pupils. You guys see the legacy that Kobe Bryant has left? You see the difference? We look at LeBron James and the legacy he's left. It's called Luka Doncic. I'm not impressed. He's a fucking speed bump on the basketball court. Then we look at the legacy that a Kobe Bryant has left. Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum. You starting to see a pattern here? You see what I'm talking about? This is why the Michael Jordan and the Kobe Bryant game is the standard veridizing and the transcenderizing game in basketball. I know those words don't exist, but I had to exaggerate it so that you guys can understand. When you look at the Michael Jordan and the Kobe Bryant game, it's the most complete package game in basketball. It's the most dominant game in basketball. And it's the game in basketball that is the standard. 11 championships were won between these guys. It's ridiculous. That's the standard. And when we sit here and we add that standard and we try to compare a standard like that with the LeBron James or what, it doesn't cut the mustard. It doesn't add up. But in this scenario, LeBron James is playing against players that he's superior to. He's superior to a James Harden. So he's going to do his ass up. Anthony Davis is superior to a Russell Westbrook. So they're going to do their ass up. And then you got to look at matchups. Basketball is all about matchups. Look at the matchups that the Los Angeles Lakers have as it relates in comparison to the Houston Rockets. What do you see as the big common denominator? The Los Angeles Lakers play better defense. So translation, they're going to win the series. This is not rocket science here. It's all about who is the better defensive team, who has the better defensive chemistry, and who runs better defensive sets. So you guys have to learn when it comes to basketball, you got to take your biases and put it to the side. Just because I can't stand LeBron in terms of him on the basketball court, that doesn't mean that I'm going to pick everybody against him. That don't make no sense. If it's somebody that he's superior to, it's common sense that he's going to beat them. Now you bring the Clippers my way and you tell me that the Clippers can beat LeBron James. That's an argument. That's a conversation that we can have. That's realistic. You telling me Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, now you giving me something. But the Houston Rockets, come on. Anybody that thought the Houston Rockets were going to win, things that make you say, And then in the first round, the Los Angeles Lakers, people were sitting here saying that Los Angeles Lakers were going to lose in the first round. And I had to sit there and say, things that make you say, there's no way the NBA, there's no way Nike has invested $90 million in this guy for him to lose in no damn first round or no damn second round. If LeBron James is losing at minimum in any round in the playoffs, it's going to be the Western Conference Finals. Anything less than that is uncivilized. Jalik, the leader, what's up, man? What's your take on the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets, bro?
The Lakers, it sounds like I don't know what that is. I think it's off now. Yeah, the Lakers, I picked them to win by like in 5 games because I knew how the Houston is. It's their character. They never got better, really. They can score more points and get triple doubles, like you said, all that stuff that people like. But when it comes down being smart and figure out the game and using your IQ and taking what you have that's best and working on things that's you weak in and bringing out the best in your opponents, they're not good at that at all. And to be honest with you, I said it yesterday and more people are starting to say it. They need to break the team up, bro. You got 2 max contracts, and you're not going nowhere. You wasting it, like you wasting your money. Like when are you trying to win? It's like they're a gimmick. They're morally start with morally, then he hire another gimmick. Everything starts on the top. Like y'all was saying about Miami. Everything starts on the top. Every team is a reflection of the owner. Then they attract whoever they need as a coach, and it just goes right down. It just goes right down. So Houston is a gimmick, like morally, man. It's crazy how fascinated they are with analytics. Analytics is cool, but they go beyond. Like they go so beyond it that it's like weird. Now, Clint Capella would have been at least helpful against AD right now, but they trade him out and just go all in. But even with that, they still should at least, if they don't win, put up better effort. They losing 3 games in a row. They won the first game. It's like they don't. It's like a switch doesn't go off in their head. They actually don't know, like they just don't know what's going on. Actually, they just not intelligent. They just don't have the IQ to get past it. So why spend all their years and you probably and you know what? Now is the time to trade them because they still got value. A lot of teams is going to pick them based on their popularity in ticket sales because Westbrook and Harden can bring ticket sales in if you get them to somewhere like New York or somewhere like that, especially if a team like New York that haven't been in the playoffs, they might get them in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. So you don't want to wait until they get like an injury or it gets worse and worse. So now is the prime time to trade them. and that'll help Houston out, and they can just do a full rebuild with a whole new coach, which I thought they should have got rid of him last year or even 2 years ago. But LeBron James, he's doing well. So can he? I gotta be honest. LeBron is the GOAT, but I don't know if he's gonna beat the Clippers, bro. I don't know if he's gonna beat the Clippers. I can see how they can win. But Anthony Davis is kind of like PG. It's like, but Homeboy is a little bit more consistent than PG. But it's something mentally in Anthony Davis that I don't like. It's just something in his brain. And if they use the matchup, if they use their big man, what's his name, Zubac for the Clippers,
Zubac,
they can use Zubac and Morris. They can use them kind of like how the Clippers used to use Matt Barnes. You got to use him as his role. How that rough him up like Rodman used to do. Rodman was just a beast. You know what I'm saying? One of the best rebounders. If they do that against the Lakers, they can probably beat the Lakers in like 6 games or 5. But it'd be interesting if they don't use that package. Then I still got the Clippers. I got the Clippers winning it all to be right now. With the Lakers, I said it yesterday. I would not sign Anthony Davis to no 5-year deal, bro. Not with them injuries. And when is LeBron going to retire? Because Anthony Davis is good to get you to the playoffs, the first round. He ain't going past the first round. So who are you going to build the team around? So I wouldn't waste my money on that. If I was a GM, they would call me cheap, bro. I would be, listen, if I see certain things, I'm not wasting my money on you. I'd rather be in a situation where you spending less money. You don't want to be playing these luxury taxes and all that, messing your business all up. And the guy, that's embarrassing, bro. Houston is actually embarrassing. They so embarrassing that I might not watch them for like a year or 2, bro. I'm so tired of the way they play, the way Harden played. He just dribble and he get on my nerves, bro. Like seriously, I'll be looking at the screen. I'll be wanting to throw my remote, bro. You're not supposed to do that, bro. It's like that. That's all they care about. I bet you they be texting, bro. I'm gonna get more points tonight. That's all they care about, bro. I think that's a lot of people be faking like they really want to win the championship. That's a lie, bro. That's a lie, bro. They lying, bro. You can't. I mean, they just loved and he loved to do that step back. I'm tired of that step back, bro. Come on, Harden, man. Do something else, man. That's all I got, man. They get on my nerves, bro. For real, man.
Go ahead, Richy Rich.
Yeah, man. It's more of what we touched on yesterday, man. But like you guys were your great points, how you pointed out, just the Rockets, man. They're just a team that's just flamed out. Their system is flamed out. It's too redundant. It's not gonna work. And for it to work, you gotta have the right personnel. You gotta have the right stupid stars to make that system work. And the stars they have in place there, Harden, Russell Westbrook, they're just not it, man. Especially James Harden, man. That game last night, man, was embarrassing. You could tell that guy mailed it in. He looked like he mailed it in, man. Like he just didn't care anymore. There was no effort. There was no sense of urgency from this dude, man. He's out here taking jump shots. Like he don't want to do anything. Like superstars are always gonna get double teams, triple teams thrown at them. You play and you find a way to get by it. Yeah, I know they were double teaming him. I know he was being doubled, but how many stars have we seen been doubled in the game and they figure something out? It's not gonna be. No one said it's gonna be easy, but you have to at least show you can try. You can show there's an effort there. I thought I was gonna see a version of Harden of like this season in this Lakers series. Even if he lost this series, I thought we were going to see James Harden go out and really play. This guy, man, every year he keeps showing that maybe this basketball, he don't take this thing seriously. He's probably in the league just to have the status, just like you mentioned, have groupies and all that stuff. I don't know, man. Like your game is the same, man. The past 7 seasons, you play the same way. I haven't seen no advancement in his game, no improvements to the game. It's literally from 7 years ago. I still see the same player in this guy. It's ridiculous. Russell Westbrook, the same player, man. And these guys, listen, I ain't hating on these guys. They work hard. They got their contracts. You can't hate on them. But like you said, man, if I was an owner of a team and a GM, I'm not paying knuckleheads like that, big money like that. Hell no, that's not happening. Listen, as an owner of a team, I'm gonna be in the off season. I'm gonna be observing what these guys are doing in the off season, if they're serious or not, man. Because that's what it's about. You don't want to tie up your money into players that are not taking this thing serious. You can look at Kawhi Leonard. You know he taking that thing serious. You look at KD. You know he taking that thing serious. Even LeBron. You could pay a guy like that type of money because he's shown. He's gonna invest $1 million into his body. He's gonna do certain things, and he's gonna make sure he's competitive, or surround himself around guys that continue to help him be competitive. With James Harden, Russell Westbrook, those guys are clowns, man. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. It's too much of the same from those guys, and the media. I don't know if they're gonna start getting on these guys. Maybe they do. Because we know Daryl Morey's gonna get fired. We know Mike D'Antoni's gonna get fired. That owner, he made ultimatums on both those guys. He's like, if they don't at least get to the finals this year, both of those guys will be canned. Now we're gonna see if that owner has brass balls. If he gets rid of James Harden, because I think that's what he ultimately has to do. He has to tell Harden, listen, man, I'm gonna bring in a coach that's gonna hold you accountable. If you ain't down with that, you're gone. I'm gonna send you to the Knicks. I'm gonna send your ass to Siberia, because you shown you not a real, you not like how Hino says, you not a guy. You not the guy.
Yeah,
you're not the guy. I can't put my faith in you, man. I can't put the faith of this franchise in your hand. So I gotta trade you. I gotta deal you, bro. Westbrook, I gotta deal you guys. You guys are knuckleheads. You guys have shown me time and time again. What happened to that Houston Rockets team that pushed that Golden State Warriors to 7 games? How come you couldn't do this to the Lakers? These guys just don't care, man. They don't care, bro. So they gotta go. This whole thing gotta get nuked. It gotta get blown up.
Facts. That's what I'm talking about, man. I've been saying this. The Russell Westbrook and the James Harden scenario is just like Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. They got to blow that shit up, because the bottom line is these types of players, when you put them together, this reminds you of Stephen Curry and Monta Ellis. It doesn't fucking work, man. It's like mixing oil and freaking water, man. It doesn't work. And people need to understand that. James Harden and Russell Westbrook, like Jason Briggs said, are selfish. It's easy to hide behind your stats and blame others when you don't win. That's facts. The bottom line is they took two players that are ball dominant players, possession clogging. We're going to have to start using that word, that terminology. I think I'm the first one to use it. So maybe it's a terminology that's going to become famous here in YouTube. They are possession clogging type of players. They clog the possession. And then you put both of them together. Mike D'Antoni needs to be fired. Daryl Morey needs to be fired. Because bottom line is an offensive-minded system as a head coach is not going to work in the NBA playoffs. If you are an assistant coach and you're under the helm of a head coach and you're implementing an offensive scheme and you were just hired for that reason, then you have a job with the NBA. But if you are being a head coach, it doesn't work. He tried it with the Phoenix Suns. Did they win a championship? No. He's tried it with the New York Knicks. Did he yield a championship? No. All we saw was offensive exploits. He tried this fuck shit with the Los Angeles Lakers and got Kobe freaking hurt. Kobe had to deal with a freaking Achilles. Had to deal with the fact that he couldn't come back. You see what I'm saying? Like, this stuff does not freaking work. This is why I'm of the mindset. And this ain't about, oh, they brothers. I don't give a damn because they're brothers. This is about judging basketball at the highest levels. It ain't about their brothers. Oh, Dame Dollar, that's my brother, man. So, the NBA, they just try to hate on my brother. CJ McCollum, that's my brother. People are, using their NBA fanship because the person is cool. I don't give a fuck about if they cool. I'm gonna say it again because I need to say this loud. I don't give a fuck if they're cool or not. This is not a cool party or cool contest. It's about who can fucking play basketball at the highest level contest. Dame Dollar does not play basketball at the highest levels. This is what Skip Bayless was talking about when he said he's not the super in front of star. Same thing with CJ McCollum. Blow that fucking team up. James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they don't mix. They are oil and freaking water. And you guys are seeing this. This is why Russell, whatever you want to say it, Westbrook, or whatever his name is. Russell Westbrook pisses me off because Russell Westbrook didn't know his lane and know his place and operate and stay in that motherfucker. His lane and his place was to be the number 2 to Kevin Durant's number 1. Richy Rich knows about this for years before I even had a platform. I was yelling at the damn TV. What the heck is wrong with you? You got a 50, 40, 90 walking gazelle, a guy that can literally dominate basketball at the highest levels, and then you turn around and you with your Allen Iverson 41, 42%, damn near 40% field goal percentage, you want to come in and try to chuck it up because you want to try to outdo Derrick Rose. See, you guys have to do your history on Russell Westbrook. Richy Rich knows this. Those who you are Bball heads in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. Russell Westbrook came out the same time as freaking Derrick Rose. And at the same time that they both came out, Russell Westbrook felt that need to have to compete with Derrick Rose. Every feat that Derrick Rose, I'm going to tell you guys where all of this Russell Westbrook nonsense came from. There was an article with Russell Westbrook. Richy Rich know what I'm talking about. There's an article where Russell Westbrook made back in them damn days where Russell Westbrook was saying, I ain't second to no damn body. I'm number 1. I don't take second place to no one. And then they asked him, so who are you competing against? Well, you know, me and Russell Westbrook, we came out at the same time. You know, I'm just trying to keep pace. Everything that he's doing, you know, I'm going to try to see if I can do it better. So he always had that mindset of anything you can do, I can do better. You know what I'm saying? That's that mindset he always had. And then he tried to trickle that mindset onto a team when categorically we knew that Kevin Durant was that dude. Kevin Durant is a solid basketball player. He plays through his game. Now, I agree that when it's all said and done, when we look at Kevin Durant, we look at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has more of an introvert. But Kevin Durant is really mostly an introvert type of basketball player. I didn't get a chance to expound on that, but I'm going to expound on it. Kevin Durant is loud when it comes to his vocal prowess outside of the basketball court. So he's more vocal than Kawhi Leonard, but he's vocal in situational moments. He's only vocal when you got the clowns like Stephen A. Smith coming after him, telling him and threatening him on national TV. Do you know who the fuck I am? Do you know who you know, those kind of things. Or people that wants to try to say things against Kevin Durant, and then Kevin Durant got to check them like the damn Draymond Greens of the world. And everybody realized now that Kevin Durant was in the right here and Draymond Green was in the wrong. These types of scenarios forces a Kevin Durant to come out and say what the fuck he got to say. But the bottom line is mostly Kevin Durant's an introvert because Kevin Durant just plays through his game. He just wants to show you that he could drop that 35 crook a little in your damn face and then go packing and let you know I'm that dude in basketball. That's really what he's about. Dwayne Wade is kind of like that too. These guys, they play their leadership styles, they play through their games. Guys that I will say that are vocal are like LeBron James, you know, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. These are vocal type of leaders. These are guys that are get in your face. These are guys that will demand stuff. These are guys that will demand this. These are guys that will try to tell you, hey, we need to take this to the next level. But you're not going to get that with Russell Westbrook. See, Russell Westbrook missed the memo because Russell Westbrook thinks because Jordan gave him a compliment and said that, hey, man, he has my DNA. He thinks in his brain he's cut that way. Kobe Bryant gave him a compliment. He's cut the way that I'm cut. Yes, DNA-wise, he has their mindset. The problem is he lacks their game. Let me say it again. He has their mindset, but he lacks their game. And because he lacks their game, that means he lacks it. See, Russell Westbrook didn't get the memo. And I don't know who said it yesterday. I don't know if it was Jalik or somebody that said it. I think it was Jalik that said it. Nobody has gotten into Russell Westbrook's face and hurt his freaking feelings.
Yep.
Now, you guys want to know who I hold accountable? And see, I know people say I never hold Kevin Durant accountable. I'm going to tell you the one thing, because nobody ever brought this to the table. If you would have brought this to the table, then I would have told you were right. There's one thing that I hold Kevin Durant accountable for. You guys want to know what it is? He never checked Russell Westbrook and put him in his damn place. He never got in his face and checked him. Yeah, they were jarring or whatever, but he never gave him that Kobe Bryant level checking. He never gave him that Michael Jeffrey Jordan level checking. Because a guy like that, you have to check him. See, if me and Russell Westbrook was on the same team, we'd be fighting. Richy Rich knows this. Yeah. We would be fighting. I'll have him in a headlock.
Well, yeah.
And then I'll kick him in the headlock and let his ass know I'm the alpha, motherfucker.
Yeah, you gotta fight. Like you gotta.
Like, I would literally take a basketball. Richy Rich knows this because I'm guilty of it. I would take a basketball and throw it at Russell Westbrook's head. That's how venomous I am. Because I have to let you know I'm the cutthroat leader on the damn team. That's how venomous I am. That's where I got pissed off when Richy was laughing because he didn't see me do that fuck shit. That's why Kevin Durant, I get mad when Kevin Durant didn't do that. If it was a Kobe Bryant, if it was a Michael Jordan, they would have done that. They would have gotten a fight. You guys would have heard back in the locker room, there would have been a fist fight with Russell Westbrook and a damn Michael Jordan and a damn Kobe Bryant. You would have heard it. Yeah. Because in basketball, you have to have a hierarchy. I don't know how many times I have to say this. You have to have an option one, unquestionably, unequivocally. Then you have to have an option two, and then the sum of all parts. Options two role is integral. You know why option two role is integral? Option two role is very pivotal on the team. It's almost as important as option one, and I'm going to break this down. Option one's role is pivotal and critical because option one has to be that dude. Like, they shouldn't even be questioning who's the guy on the team. He has to dominate like option one. He has to be option one, and there's no question in that. But here's option two's burden. Option two burden is a twofold burden. That's why I got mad at Stephen Curry. Option two is supposed to let the rest of the sum of all parts, i.e. role players, know that this is option one, and we're not going to question his leadership. But then here's the other role that option two has. They have to fall their ass up on the option one and keep giving the burden and confirming that option one is option one, meaning through their communication, through their talks directly back and forth. Option two should never be trying to usurp option one. Why do you think I like Paul George and where he's at now? Because Paul George is always an option two player. He was masquerading as an option one in Indiana Pacers. Then he got exposed because LeBron James beat his ass twice. Got fucking exposed. But then he realized after those years, I'm not an option one, and it's okay. See, everybody can't be a Don Dada. It's like Bushmaster said on Luke Cage, dog. Two bulls can't reign in one pen. Don Dada is not plural, you know. It's not. What does he mean when he said that? That's a Jamaican proverb of saying that two people cannot rule in one province. Two people can't be the leaders in one situation. You can't have two leaders. You can only have one. Then you have to have the sum of all parts. But see, option two burden, again, twofold. They have to make sure they keep everybody on the team in line and knowing that I'm not going to usurp option one. And then they have to have that symbiotic relationship with option one that I'm never going to usurp you. This is why I always use Scottie Pippen as the barometer of what an option two should look like in basketball. Scottie Pippen never tried to usurp Michael Jordan on the basketball court. He knew his role. He knew his place. He lived in that motherfucker. And guess what? He got 6 NBA titles for it. When we look at Stephen Curry, that's an option two. When we look at James Harden, that's an option three. When we look at Russell Westbrook, that's an option two. See, I could tell you where these guys' levels is at. See, everybody keeps saying he knows always so harsh on me. Listen, maybe my basketball standards are too high, or maybe y'all motherfuckers can't keep up. Yeah, I said it. I want everybody to repeat what I said. James Harden is an option fucking three. Just like he was when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's exactly where his ass belonged. Option fucking three. He's not even option two. And you thought an option three becoming an option one was going to work? No. How does that work? When does that ever work in basketball? Shoot, option two can't be option one. So how the heck can option three be option one? Does that make any sense to you guys? Luka Doncic, I know this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but Luka Doncic is just a swooped up James Harden. He's really an option 2.5. Because what I see from his game, I don't see option one. And what you guys are going to see is every year you're going to see him fall into the same habit of giving you offensive exploits, triple doubles, but he ain't got no defense to follow or counteract that. That's just the bottom line. When you are option one, that means you are a stimulus package or a complete package player. You know, like the stimulus package that they came out with in the government? You know, like those stimulus checks they give you guys? That is what a option one is, a stimulus check. That means you know what it is, and you know it's guaranteed. You know it's coming to your ass. That's option one. You ain't going to get that from an option two and an option three level player because they don't have that stimulus in them. What is the stimulus? They can't play defense and offense at the same level. What do I mean when I say that? They can't play elite on both sides of the equation. This is what option one is all about. Being Geppetto's. Kawhi Leonard, he has layers to his game. That's why he's a bona fide option one through and through. When you look at Kevin Durant, that's a bona fide option one through and through because there's layers to their game. They can lock you down defensively in situational moments, and then they can bust your ass for 40 or 50. That's a bona fide option one through and through. And then you have your options twos, i.e. Stephen Curry, i.e. James Harden, i.e. Luka Doncic, i.e. Dame Dollar. These are option two level players that's masquerading as option ones. They were never option ones. And if Damian Lillard is smart, before they trade his ass from Portland, if Damian Lillard is smart, he better go fall his ass up on the damn of Brooklyn Nets with a Kevin Durant or fall his ass with the Lakers and LeBron James. And I'm sorry to say this, LeBron James, although he is the highest pecking order of an option two, he's the only player I know in basketball that can masquerade as an option one. I don't know why. I don't know how. He's the only one that could get away with masquerading being an option one. You know why? Because he's always playing with guys that can complement him. That's the way it looks. He's playing with guys that can complement him. That's just the facts. Let's get this troll out of here. The bottom line is this. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up in this channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to the platform. Anyways, bottom line is this. When we look at James Harden, we look at Russell Westbrook, we have to test their temperature. They need to blow that team up. And Russell Westbrook, I need a public proclamation from you. Yes, I said it. The public proclamation is, Kevin Durant, I'm sorry. I screwed up. I messed up. And I messed our reign for us to win 2 championships. Because if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, like I've seen, I think it was Aaron Jones or Bookie Allen. Let me see. No, it was Aaron Jones. He said Kevin Durant was vicious in the OKC days. That was my favorite team. What's my fucking favorite team too? But Russell Westbrook, I wanted to slap that dude every time I saw that cat. Russell Westbrook needs to get a mic in front of him and he needs to apologize. He has confession time. You know how they in the Catholic Church that you got to go to the priest and do confession? He got to go do confession. The confession he got to do is, Kevin Durant, I screwed up. You was the option one. I was boneheaded and I screwed the opportunity up. And I'm the reason why the Oklahoma City Thunder was not the team that they were supposed to be. That is what he's going to have to do at his truest and his most properest levels. Now, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, and we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets. Look, man, the Denver Nuggets are being used as batting practice, defensive batting practice. Isn't that exactly what's happening? It's 3-1 right now. What is Jamal Murray getting going on? He's getting shut down. He's getting locked down. This ain't no Donovan Mitchell, a guy that's still stuck in the first season. This is Kawhi Leonard. And see, this is the problem with NBA fans. They are prisoners of the moment. They get caught up in prisoner of the moment fiasco. And that's why he knows the sport always have to bring y'all asses to the standard of basketball. Prisoner of the moment. Y'all forgot what Kawhi was. Y'all forgot Kawhi was that dude. I heard a lot of people talking sideways. Richy, they were saying, Kawhi look like he stepped slow. Kawhi looking exposed. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, do you guys fucking know basketball? Do you guys not realize that this guy needs to get his defensive legs up under him? And look at what's happening. The Clippers done got their defensive legs up under them. They synergistically are now clicking, I wouldn't say on all cylinders, but they're close to it. They're about 75% of where they need to be at. And all they need to do, if I was them, I'll let the Nuggets get another game. just so that I could keep getting my defense under my legs. Because trust and believe, that series against the Lakers, that's going to be a hard press series. And just like Richy Rich said, and just like Lewis said, and we talked about it, we heard about it. The bottom line is this. When we look at the Los Angeles Lakers and we look at the Los Angeles Clippers, we have to ask ourselves the underlying truth here. What is this game going to boil down to? They both said it. It's going to be 3 games, and it's going to be decided by a 7th game. I agree with that vehemently because the NBA is going to make sure they push that motherfucker out to the max. We're talking about LeBron versus Kawhi Leonard. That's going to be the game. But before then, Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, you got a lot to learn, man. Because truth be told, we got to get on Joker. Because Joker should be treating Zubac like barbecue chicken. What the heck is going on with this dude? Why isn't he showing up and showing out? I mean, it's ridiculous the way this series has gone that you got a guy that big, a guy that could command with his size and his presence. He hasn't taken his game to the next level. It's sad, but that's just the reality of it. Now, let me give the mic to Jalik the Leader. Jalik the Leader, what's your take on the Clippers and the Nuggets, man?
I like the Nuggets because they're putting in the effort. You know what I'm saying? I watch the Nuggets. I'm done. I'm on a break with the Houston. I can't watch them. The dribble kings, the gimmicks. I'm not watching them now. Nuggets, I can mess with them because they at the beginning they just bringing it all together and their expectations is not really that high. And I believe they made the Western Conference Finals this year. To be honest with you, they exceeded my expectation. I didn't think they would get better, and I can see also ways that they can improve. And they have the attitude to actually want to improve because Homeboy, I heard he was cool because he come across as being brash or whatever, Westbrook. But I heard in real life, he just a totally different person. But on a basketball court, when it comes to there, you can't tell him nothing. And like you said, niggas like that, you got to spar with him, bro. And if you know this, he been in the league since 2008. He always trying to fight, ain't he? He was... Yo, bro, when he was in OKC, he was real cool with what's the dude named New Zealand? The center Steven Adams.
You're talking about Steven Adams.
But a few games ago, I forget what game it was, but OKC, he was beefing with him. Bro, why are you always angry, bro? He never happy. Like it's something like you said, somebody got to stick to him. Like, but Kevin Durant is not confrontational like that. But a lot of times for niggas like that, you got to set the example up, go to the boxing gym and let this nigga know, like, bro, you need to shut the fuck up. And then because it's like he don't got no boundaries. It's like I don't know if y'all got dogs. If you let your dog do anything, bro, they're going to be jumping up on you. They're going to be barking at people, but you got to set the boundaries. And that's something that nobody has done. I noticed I've been knew this about him for years, but I like him though. So I was always rooting for him. But like you said, it's like he's in competition with Kevin Durant instead of letting the game flow. It's like in his mind, he doesn't know how to accept his role. And that's the scary part about Harden and Westbrook. Remember Iverson, he didn't really know how to accept his role. That's why he retired when he did. He just like, I'm not coming off the bench because it's like their ego. So that's why a lot of players can extend their career after a certain amount of time because they like, you know what? I'm not at the best right now, but let me play second role, second fiddle and fit in and play my role. A la Rondo. You see Rondo playing his role and he got young legs out there. He playing like he a rookie. That's what Harden and Westbrook is not going to do. The smartest thing to do is to let them go now. Let them get their stats up. They already in the Hall of Fame. Let them text and do whatever it is that they do. They think it's important. Nobody cares no more. The ratings going to go down. Watch. People, the fans is different now. People going to start watching them like that. So, yeah, that's what that. But as far as the Nuggets, I like where they're going. Porter is the key to their team. Now, Gary Harris is signed to a big contract. I wish it was like baseball where they didn't have the salary cap. Harris got a big contract. Jamal Murray got a contract. And the Joker got a contract. So Porter, look for Porter to most likely get traded. If he don't get traded, it's going to be between him and Gary Harris. So if Porter keep developing, then they're going to let Gary Harris go. But if Porter don't develop but still do sort of decent, they probably going to do a sign and trade and just let him go because you're not going to be able to afford 4 max contracts. It's just not going to do that. OKC had signed they had Westbrook and Durant, and then they had also signed Ibaka. That's why I knew in the summer of 2012, I knew once they lost their finals, Harden was out of there. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to Porter. But I like what they're doing. They're doing this in the Western Conference. And do I ever see them making it to the finals? It depends on who they get. It depends on how they develop, because you never know, because LeBron it's going to get to the point where he just not even, you can see it now. He's not the LeBron of 2010, but he knows how to be efficient and make the best of his situation. He still got ups and things like that. So I like where the Nuggets is going. I like teams like that. They hungry and they just get it. They like the Western Conference version of Miami. And then the Clippers, I think he overrated, but we're going to see. If they don't win, whoa, trust me, he's going to be on a hot seat. If he don't win a chip this year, bro, he's going to be on a hot seat. He can't not afford. Doc Rivers, he's going to be on a hot seat. We'll see, though. But I think they should win. But because I think he low-key kind of overrated in a sense. But that's all I got on that.
All right, Richy Rich, what's your take on it?
On this Clippers and Denver series, man, I'm looking at the Clippers to close them out, because just seeing what kind of mood they're in, seeing what kind of approach that they have on this series now. These guys are trying to close it out. They're putting an emphasis on defense, and they're listening to more of what Doc Rivers is telling them. Guys are making more of an effort. Guys like Mo Williams and Montrezl Harrell. You're starting to see those guys get their legs up under them, because those guys had some issues early on in the bubble. Where Lou Will came in, and he was suspended because he had that issue where he was caught at a strip joint. And then you had Montrezl Harrell, I think his grandmother passed, and he had to reflect through that, man. So, obviously he's going through some pain, but, he's still putting in work on the court. And, both those guys look like, they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to get where they were when they were playing during the season. So they're definitely going to need that push. Kawhi Leonard, man, he looks like he's in rare form, man. Putting up those crazy lines, playing, on both ends of the court, doing what he does, man. Just like last season, where he was out there dominating, when he was on the Raptors, when he went on that championship run. PG is doing this thing, right now, they don't really need like 30-point games from PG. PG's just doing it, he's playing as a jack of all trades. And he's doing an exceptional job on Jamal Murray. And, these guys are just figuring out who they are as a team. They're getting better at figuring out who they are as a team. Ivan Zubac, he was struggling with Jokic early on in the series, but in that last game, he figured something out, and he was able to go at Jokic down low. So, Ivan, he needs to mature because he's a young center. He's like 23, 24 years old. They're going to need it. That's pretty much their future center right there. And Ivan Zubac, he's solid, man. He's got good post moves, but he has to learn how to be a better post presence, like a interior presence, where he can, block shots. He can be that guy. He has great size, but they don't trust him yet. That's the reason why they brought Joakim in there. They got an extra guy that's a veteran to, kind of teach him some things. So I'm hoping that works out, because they're going to need Ivan to continue to mature, and he's maturing in this series, going up against a player like Jokic. But, Denver, they're a young team, man. They got some ways to go. They got a coach that's going to continue to hold those players accountable. So that's good. Mike Malone, he's a solid coach. It wasn't cool what Porter did, where he put that dude under the bus and some of the teammates under the bus. But he's a young player, man, and he feels, that he was their first round draft pick. He was a high draft pick. and he feels that he's going to be a future. He's supposed to be the future guy on the team. So but right now, at that moment, it wasn't the right moment for him to say that. He still needs years on that team. He needs to prove that he could be the alpha on that team, the bona fide alpha on that team, the go-to guy on that team. And right now, he's just not that dude. So he needs to chill. They're going to continue to get better. They're going to be, but it's on the players. It's on the players how they're being developed, and them wanting to have that want of being one of the best teams in the Western Conference and in the NBA, because these guys are the future, man. Jamal Murray, Jokic, Porter, Gary Harris. These guys are the next 5 years. We're going to be viewing these guys. 5 to 10 years down the road, we're going to be viewing these guys to see what they're doing. So I want to see those guys get better, continue to develop. Don't be like James Harden and Russell Westbrook. That's when you look at players, when you're looking at players like that, that's like the counter of what you're not supposed to be. So hopefully these guys aren't prescribing to those players. They're prescribing to the Kevin Durant's, the Kawhi Leonard's, even to the LeBron James. People that are serious about wanting to win. Because that's what it's about. If you want to be remembered in this league, you have to win. You got to win at the highest of levels. That's what it's all about. You got to show you have a want to win. And so that's the future. I hope these guys continue to improve. It's not their time now, but we'll see a few years down the road, how serious they are about competing. But I see the Clippers closing it out today, man, because I'm just hearing what Doc was saying, what Kawhi was saying, PG, other members of the team. And these guys are just serious about, trying to close these guys out, man. So Denver Nuggets are gonna put up a fight. That team, you gotta give it to them. They're not gonna mail it in like the Rockets did last night. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna play a full game, and they're gonna make the Clippers work for that game. So it should be a entertaining game tonight, a competitive, entertaining game, with the Clippers winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lewis, man. Salute to Lewis. Let's get the salutations out the way. And then, Lewis, man, your take on the Lakers and the Rockets, as well as the Clippers and the Nuggets.
All right, man. Salute to Hino, salute to Jalik, salute to Richard, man. Appreciate you guys once again for having me, and salute to the chat as always. Getting started with the Lakers and the Rockets. I mean, let's call it what it is, man. We got two high octane betas who still have not learned in terms of how to play structured basketball and learning how to win. I said those two guys that I wanted them to win. Look, I was a big fan of Harden when he was in OKC, and when Russ was there with OKC with Kevin Durant, and I said this is going to be the next team. But just like the Orlando Magic, I felt like they was kind of the watered down version of the Magic. They peaked too early, and just like that, James Harden was gone, man. And even then, man, I thought that they was gonna get together, but he made a very interesting point. He knows, and it's crazy to me that this didn't happen. But KD should have a long time ago, because we know who the best player on the team was, man, and it was KD.
Mm-hmm.
And he should have checked Russell Westbrook a long time ago. I don't care how much Russell doesn't want to hear it. Him and Harden, all they want is yes men, and Russ has gotten away with it year after year after year after year. No one has ever held Russell accountable for nothing. I'm sorry, man.
Yep.
Because everything with them is mental. With Russ, you be thinking. Sometimes I'll be wondering, like, what's up with Russ? Like something is wrong. Like 1 minute he's coming at you like a pit bull, and then the next minute it's kind of like. Because when I hear a player who's supposed to be as great as he is said that I'm just running around in circles and I don't know what I'm really doing out there, I'm like, then you can't talk about Pat Bev because you're a better overall player than Pat Bev, and you're out there saying that you don't know what you're doing out there on the basketball court. And the thing also is that I think it was after game one or before that he was having dinner with dinner with LeBron, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, okay, that's fine because everybody's stuck in the bubble, so I'm not gonna be here and judge all that. But it's like, yo, all gloves come off once we get on that court because I'm trying to beat you. You're my competitor. You're not my friend. Once you step on the court, the friendship goes out the window. But he gets too much credit. they keep saying that Russell gets his hate, but he also has his media fanboys too. And like, we got to keep it 100. People got to stop with this nonsense. Russ stays turning the ball over. Russ keeps going at 120 miles an hour, and he still has not learned how to control himself, even at this point in his career, which is why he's not going to win. And I said that people could get mad at KD all they want, but I understand why KD left. And it's because you're not going to win a championship playing street ball with Russell Westbrook. That's the bottom line, man. That's the bottom line. Okay, now James Softon or James Harhead, with him, another guy who wants a yes man. And what was really pathetic about that game was in game 4 against the Lakers was this guy took 11 shots and got to the line 20 times. He had more free throw attempts than the entire Lakers team. They only had 16 for the game, and yet you only took 11 shots. So basically, the Lakers pretty much snatched the soul out of you. And I knew people were getting hyped up for what they did against Oklahoma City. And I said, look, as much as I like OKC is not the Los Angeles Lakers. I said, no, that's a different team. What did the Lakers do? All they had to do was put AD at the 5 and go small because the Rockets have no bigs. And right there, once you did that, Higgity effing hush, as he knows over says, that game is over. So this series is pretty much over. They need to blow the team up. I don't care what anybody says. James Harden needs to be held up. They need to bring somebody once again, that's going to hold these guys accountable. Because I remember when Kevin McHale was on that team, was on the Rockets, he was trying to push Harden to be a better player, and Harden was just kind of pushing him to the side and kind of like, I don't want to listen. And I said this about Russell Westbrook. He holds himself accountable, but he doesn't like when anybody is critiquing his game. It's like he'd rather be his own self-critic. And it's like your self-criticism has not garnered you to be a better player at this point. Because, I remember Jalik was saying it yesterday. It was like, Russell looks amazing. He's in incredible shape and all that. Yeah, you're in great shape. But your mental shape is still bad at this point. And that's a problem. 12 years into this league and you're still not, I'm sorry, man. And it's like, I was hearing a little bit what you guys were saying earlier, man. Like, Russell Westbrook thinks because you get a compliment from Jordan and a Kobe, I mean, hell, even a LeBron James, that all of a sudden you put yourself in an astute level that you're in that conversation like with those guys, like, oh yeah, because I got that mentality, I bring it every single night. It hasn't translated to winning, man. It hasn't, because Russell Westbrook has played with a lot of talent. Everybody talks about Kate. At least listen, you can play with all the talent you want, but you got to win with that talent too. Because it's an indictment on you if you've played with so much talent and you have not been able to win. So that's on you. So LeBron, Kevin Durant, Jordan, Kobe, with the talent that they played with, they were able to win. Russell Westbrook and James Harden have not been able to do that. So that's an indictment on them. So this whole thing, and it's like a game of reverse psychology with these two. Well, it's a lesser version with Harden because Russell Westbrook got the mindset of an alpha. He just don't got the alpha game. James Harden, it's tough because you want to say he has an alpha game, but it's like it's a predictable because I could say that he's an alpha scorer, but his game is too predictable for me to say that he's a true alpha. And then he just has a beta mentality. Let's just face it. Those X's and O's, his mindset is never really on the game. I'm sorry, man.
Yep.
So this series is over in 5. Frank Vogel proves that he's the better coach over Mike D'Antoni, another guy who just proves once again that regular season. And like I said, all of these guys, Westbrook, Harden, and D'Antoni, they were a match made in heaven because they're all regular season people. Mike D'Antoni, regular season coach, yeah, he got you a couple of conference finals, but when it comes down to it, he just doesn't make adjustments as a championship coach to win. You got to be able to make adjustments when you're a coach, if you're a championship coach. And then with Russell and Harden, 2 MVPs, but again, that's the smoke and mirrors, man. It's like you look at them and basically you're saying to yourself, man, like these two, like they're not really MVP players when you really think about it. They're not really MVPs because you got to be able to elevate your game in the playoffs. Like your game has got to be pretty much either the same or it gets even better in the postseason. And those guys, I've heard people, oh man, Harden is balling, not Harden to show up. I said, that's not my issue with Harden and Westbrook. It's not the fact that they could put up astronomical numbers, man. A triple-double season here, 36.5 points there. after what Harden showed me last night, I don't ever. It's not that look, Harden's not is not a great player because he is the same with Westbrook, but I don't ever want to hear that James Harden is the most elite scorer that I've ever seen in NBA history from these media pundits. I don't ever want to hear that because Jordan and Kobe, even the LeBron, are levels beyond the James Harden, man. They're levels above James Harden. So the Lakers they got the series wrapped up in 5, man. They got no answer for AD, no answer for Bron, and it was just pretty much that. And now getting to the Nuggets and the Clippers. We've been pretty much saying it. It's pretty much like target practice. Oh no. So getting on. My apologies. So getting on the Nuggets and the Clips. That's target practice for the Clippers. Pretty much, the Nuggets are a very good team. I think because I know Jalik was basically saying, that depending on who's probably going to go in terms of that team, they can't sign all 4 guys in terms of mad contracts, and he was talking about the salary cap in baseball, and that was actually a good point he brought up. But when I look at this team, when they almost went to the Western Conference Finals, because you always have to remember this: when you overachieve, the expectations are always going to be higher the next year. Even if some people are like, well, I don't know. The thing is, when you reach a certain level, it's going to be, can you do more? Can these players do more? Can the best players on the team do more? So the responsibility and the accountability is going to be much higher. So you're expected to perform at that high level. Now with the Nuggets, the issue I had with them is I didn't know what team they were and then whose team is it. Like that's what they showed me pretty much all season because they have a collection of talent, but they don't have a true alpha. So they don't really have a number one guy. And I said before, Jokic should not be Mr. Do Everything. He should just focus on rebounding and scoring. They don't have a true playmaker. And I feel like Michael Porter Jr. can be that guy, but it's going to take him a little bit of time. Jamal Murray should move to the 2, and he really shouldn't be a playmaker at all because, let's face it, he loves to score. And, they have Will Barton, they have Gary Harris, they have those bigs. Like, it's a raw basketball team. It's like talented, but it's raw. And and in terms of like the Clippers, they're pretty much fine tuning themselves. They're starting to look like the Clippers that, I think what people kind of expected coming into this season, because we got to keep in mind, Paul George missed the first 20 games of the season. They had guys in and out of the lineup. Now, I'm not going to excuse with some of the games that they easily should have won, but they always the Clippers, they just kind of go through the motions. Like when I watch them, it's like sometimes I could tell that they don't really take the game as seriously as they should. And then sometimes they play too hard, but they wait too late to try to get themselves engaged. And next thing you know, they're allowing 130, 140 points to teams that they really shouldn't allow them to. But again, be it that as it may, like at this point, Kawhi Leonard is showing you like why he's one of the best players in the NBA. Kawhi is coming for that crown. I can't wait to see what happens between him and LeBron. Again, it's going to be the irresistible force against the immovable object. I know Ben had a different saying pretty much on that one, but when it comes to these Nuggets, listen, they got a bright future. They definitely have a bright future. I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope that they get a championship down the line. I don't know if Mike Malone is the coach for that team. I don't know if he's the guy for them, to be honest with you. Like I said, and also Michael Porter Jr., obviously he's showing that as good as he is, he's got to mature a little bit too in terms of mindset. There's just some things you don't do to the media. You keep it within the locker room. Like you don't want to start to create a bad culture where you have issues with you and the coach and then you and the team. So you want to keep that culture centered. You keep it indoors. Paul George, the only thing with him is really, like Richy Rich was saying, he doesn't really have to score like more so 30. I mean, I could really say anywhere from like 20 to 30, but it's got to have impact. It's got to have merit. And he just has to be consistent. Like you can't get yourself into foul trouble, which is good. Trust me, because if he gets into foul trouble, it'll take him out of his game. Same thing with, Montrezl Harrell. Because I said before, like Doc and Jalik made a good point, and this is where, and I agree with him on this. The Clippers, he will be on the hot seat if the Clippers don't get to the finals at the very least, and they got to win because you brought in Kawhi Leonard, you brought in Paul George. Remember, he got credit for having this great coaching job last year, leading a team with no All-Stars to 48 wins. It's just now you added two pieces in those guys. So you have a star and you have a superstar. So there's no excuses for the Clippers this year. So they have to win a championship because if they don't, Doc Rivers is going to be on the hot seat. And I agree with Jalik. He, to me, is a little bit overrated when you ask me, because if Doc Rivers is going to earn his stripes this time around, what he has to do, they have a couple of hotheads on that Clippers team. Joakim Noah is another one of those guys too, if he decides to play him against, because I know he's going to try to use him for AD. The Clippers have to maintain their composure. Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, Paul George, Doc Rivers himself. Because remember, some of these players are an extension of the coach, so he has to do a good job of being pretty much leading these guys in terms of their mindset. And he's going to have to tell them when they go against the Lakers, you cannot get yourselves in foul trouble. And if you can't also don't get yourselves in terms of the game where you're trying to argue with the referees, because there's going to be argument on both sides. But you can't argue with the refs, because once you start doing that, you take yourselves out of the game. You worry about more so frustration and things not going your way, and that gives the Lakers the advantage. And it's going to be the same with the Lakers because both teams have got flaws. It's just going to be like Richy Rich said. We're going to have 3 games of rig, and then let that game 7 play all out. The best of the best, we're going to see who's going to come out, not only the king of the bubble to represent the Western Conference, but who's going to represent as the Kings of LA, at least for this season, because the Clippers have not proven anything yet. So let's be that as it may. They got no championships. LA's got 16. So they got the championship pedigree. They got the history. Kawhi Leonard's got the experience. Paul George has been to a conference finals. LeBron's got championship experience. AD's not. So we're definitely going to see what happens, man. But like I said, the Nuggets are, and I'm going to close it with this, the Nuggets got a bright future. They're not going to go down without a fight. They're going to bring it to the Clippers. And I said that's what the Clippers need to keep them on their toes, because it's gonna force them to be less complacent, understanding what's at stake. So for them to pretty much, because also this has got to teach the Clippers to have a killer instinct, because if they don't and they let a series drag out, anything can happen at that point. So at the end of the day, the Clippers, I think the Nuggets are not going to go down without a fight. And I actually want a competitive basketball so that the Clippers know what to expect when they get to that next round, when it's really gonna count. And so I got the Clippers in 5. I think if they win, but I won't be surprised if the Nuggets push this to 6. But I got the Clippers in 5. I think that little momentary distraction with Michael Porter Jr. might be a little bit of an issue. I hope not, but I think it might be. So I got the Clippers ending this tonight. And just listening by Doc and some of the players, they're smelling blood, and the thing is, they need to. They don't want the series to go any further, especially with what the Lakers are doing to the Rockets right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Lewis tore that shit up, man, as always, man. Salute to you, brother. Jalik, the leader, we're going to start off with you on this topic, man.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. This series then turned around and become a 7-game series. I had the Raptors losing in 6.
Oh, listen.
It looked like they don't want to outlive the whole Kawhi Leonard. So what's your take on this?
Bro, I gotta eat crow, bro. I was hyping my boy Kemba Walker up. Like the nigga only had 5 points the last game. I said, no, you making me look bad, bro. You making me look bad, bro. I'm like, bro, like, what's going on? Man, man, bro, he better snap tonight. If not, bro, I don't mind calling somebody out, bro. Mm-hmm. This game is gonna be fire. These are one of the games where you gotta watch the whole game. Some games you can watch just the fourth quarter, third, whatever. This game right here is gonna be fire. And I'm telling you this, Brad Stevens, I would get rid of. See, I'm stricter than a lot of these other coaches and owners. I'll get rid of him. I look in the future. I'm like, you can't win with this one. You got Jaylen Brown, you got Tatum, you got Kemba Walker, 3 max contracts, and you can't beat Toronto. And you was up 2-0. Nah, bro, get him out of here. But his reputation, he has a good reputation amongst the league, and he's also in a good situation where, bro, he'll get a job so fast that Houston might hire him. because he's actually a good coach, to believe it or not. But certain people can't get over the edge. So if you up 2-0 and you can't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the way you look in the previous playoffs, it's not going to look good to you, especially last year, the way they just went out. But this, to be honest with you, this is really, I'm really 50-50 on this one. I can see how both ways, but looking at the Celtics, they don't got a good bench. Their bench is not that great, bro. And when it comes to playoff basketball, it's about your bench. It's about having an X factor type player that can do something like grab 10, do something that they're not normally doing, or hit a couple threes that they're not used to. And like He Knows His Sports was saying, you got to hit foul shots. Those shit make a difference. Those points make a difference. And as long as and also rebounds. And from a defensive standpoint, if Ibaka, Ibaka is one of them players, he started shooting a lot of threes, but if he get back to the old Ibaka from OKC before he had a jumper and was just strictly focusing on defense, they'll definitely win it. They'll definitely win it. Now, we always got to look at it from a business standpoint. Toronto and Boston. Toronto won last year. Toronto was more international. So, and I don't know what the Vegas. Does anybody know what the Vegas odds is? That make a difference too, as far as like, because we know.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the Vegas odds were.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So be honest with you, I'm 50-50 on this one. This one can go either way, but key, I really kind of want Toronto to win because I'm rooting for my boy Larry, because Larry had one of those images in the playoffs, like what's his name for Dallas, Nowitzki, and he finally got over the hump. Now, of course, last year he done better. He did win a chip with Kawhi, but this year this is the best series he's ever had in the playoffs, and he don't got Kawhi. He always used to freeze up in the playoffs, so Larry even stepped his game up. Homeboy is an unrestricted free agent, so that's going to be real interesting, because if they make the Eastern Conference Finals and they two small point guards working together, and then you were saying that they should trade McCollum and what's his name from Oakland.
McCollum and Dame Dollar.
Yeah, so they small guards too. So I guess it's just one of those things. So Van Fleet is one of those players where he knows his role, and believe it or not, I would take a Van Fleet over Russell Westbrook because he's more consistent. He's smarter IQ, and he understands his role. He doesn't think that he's first team All NBA and he's an MVP player, and he knows how to concede and he know how to play his role. So I would definitely take Van Fleet over Russell Westbrook if you're trying to win games. Now, is he going to get and also too, from an image standpoint, he's not worth as much money. So you can get him with a good deal on there. So this one right here, I'm leaning towards Toronto because I kind of want him to win. But Kemba Walker, bro, man, they gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him in the media if he had one of them games again, because they're gonna blame him. So I'm leaning towards Toronto, but if Kemba Walker can do what I think he can do, then I definitely got the Celtics. But that's kind of tough right there, bro. But homeboy, if he lose tonight, I get him out of there. I wouldn't even play games with Brad Stevens like that. Get him out of there, bro. Get him out of there.
Bottom line is, it's not going to boil down to Kemba Walker. It's going to boil down to Jason Tatum. He's the all-star of that team. He's the guy that's supposed to take himself to the next level. So I'm expecting, when it comes to the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum, this is a test your temperature moment for him. This is a moment where he's going to showcase if he has the talent, if he has the repertoire that everybody saw him to have. You know, is he really that Kobe Bryant pupil, that Kobe Bryant underling? Does he have the abilities? Does he have the wherewithal? Does he have the ability and the ingenuity to take his game to the next level? This is the stuff that I was talking about, where I don't get caught up in guys just giving you exploits in one season. Like, this is where it matters. Are you going to step your game up in the postseason? Because the last time around, if you guys remember last year, we were in the same boat with the Boston Celtics. Kyrie Irving was injured, in and out, injured. And then what happened? Jason Tatum, it was incumbent upon him, the Jalen Browns, and all of these guys of the world to step up. And they nutted up in the situation, man. So now this is a 7-game series. If Jason Tatum does not get over the hump, then all of that stuff that people was talking about with Jason Tatum being a superstar and all of this other stuff, et cetera, I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. I'm picking the Celtics to win this thing in 7. I don't see why they should not beat the Toronto Raptors. It's a shocker that the Toronto Raptors were able to make this thing 7 games because, truth be told, I had the Celtics winning this thing in 6. But we're here and we're there for a reason because the Celtics, I forgot, and I had to remind myself the issue with the Boston Celtics is in key situational moments, they nut up the situation in a lot of key games. There was no reason why they shouldn't have won Game 6. It was a close game, but they made some mistakes down the stretch that caused them to lose that game. So bottom line is this. Game 7 is here. We got the Celtics versus the Raptors. Do not let a guy with the name of Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet pass you up. They don't even sound like they have superstar names. Jason Tatum is a superstar name to me. It sounds like a superstar name. If you let a Pascal Siakam beat you, you let a Fred VanVleet beat you, I'm going to start holding you accountable, Jason Tatum, especially with the fact that you went into the Mamba Academy. I ain't got time to be playing with people. Y'all, you don't fall your ass over the Mamba Academy. We need to see clutch baskets. We need to see you take your game over to the next hunt. We need to see you not get caught up. And don't fall for that LeBron curse. See, there's a LeBron curse going around. Just like in boxing, there's the Mayweather curse. There's the LeBron curse in basketball. LeBron would tell you, hey, that's that next guy right there. That guy right there, that's the guy to pay attention to. And then that guy, I don't know, something about the basketball player, they let that LeBron curse get in their head, and then they don't show up. It happened to Paul George. If you guys remember, the same conversation that LeBron James was talking about Jason Tatum, he was saying that same fuck shit about Paul George. And what happened? That's why I call it the LeBron curse. And he's damn near saying it about Luka Doncic, the LeBron curse. So if I'm Jason Tatum, I remember what I learned under the Mamba Academy, and in Game 7, I show up and I show out. No excuses, man. This is where legends are made. There's a reason why they call it the NBA playoffs. There's a reason why the NBA playoffs is a whole nother NBA season, because it's defined by legends. This is what separates the men from the boys. This is what separates, like Biggie said, the weak from the obsolete. This is the NBA playoffs, y'all. This is for real. The games get slowed down to a snail. It gets slowed down to a crawl. Jason Tatum, where's your ass at? You need to show and prove. Just like Christian Butler said, they need to stop with that. Tatum being a superstar. There's probably only 4 or 6 true superstars in the league. Facts. They throw this word superstar around like it's toilet paper. Myself, Richy Rich, Lewis, and Jalik, man, you done graduated so fast learning under the tutelage of the 3 of us. I got to give you credit, bro. You talking good now. Like the first week you was here, you wasn't even pronouncing players' names right. You was like gibberish. You was like speaking in tongues. Now we got you speaking a language we can understand. You're not speaking like a baby no more. So I got to give you credit for that. But anyways, I give credit to my boy Lewis for that.
He sent me an app, and I got an app, so it helped me out.
Nah, you called him a stat tracker, stack patter, but he's been constantly giving you stats that's been helping you become more advanced in your basketball knowledge. You've been listening to Richy Rich dropping those napalms. You've been listening to me, so you good to go. But like Anthony L said, Mamba Academy is great, but you can't teach killer instinct. Facts. That's bars right there, though. I'm gonna say that again. Mamba Academy is great, but you can't teach killer instincts. There's levels to this stuff. There's gears, man. Do not make the late great Kobe Bryant turn in his grave. He done gave you the tutelage. He done gave you the tools. He done gave you the keys to the kingdom. So what you gonna do, Jason Tatum? This is a show up or show out game. And if Jason Tatum doesn't show up, I don't want to hear nothing about Jason Tatum as superstar no more. Anybody that brings Jason Tatum as superstar next to me, I'm going to shoot that thing down. Matter of fact, if I hear anything good about Jason Tatum, I'm going to have to drop an Etherin type of video on his ass. He better show up in Game 7. He better do what he got to do, and he better close out the Toronto Raptors. There's no reason a team that does not have Kawhi Leonard, you guys should not close the deal and seal the deal. They lost their best player. They lost their catalyst. They lost their equalizer. You guys should close them out. And then this whole thing, Jalik, the leader, what you talking about with Brad Stevens, I'm going to hold off on Brad Stevens being fired right now. Let's see what Brad Stevens can do after this series. See, he has to win Game 7. See, if he wins Game 7, then we don't talk this firing talk. Because when it's all said and done, he has to show and prove. This, to me, is the beginning of the chopping block for Brad Stevens. So I agree with what you're saying, but I'm not going to be so quick to sit there and put it on him just yet, because there were injuries with Kyrie Irving. There were injuries with Gordon Hayward. So you got to think about these little nuances. But it starts this season. You don't went to the Western Conference Finals, and we all know in basketball, once a coach goes to the Western Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, it's downhill from there if they don't get the job done. We've seen this happen so many times. So this is the first year you can start saying, Brad Stevens, you are on the proverbial chopping block. But he's going to have to coach Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, come on, man. Bring me to the promised land, because I got the Celtics winning this series. I want to see the Celtics versus the Heat. I want to see no damn Raptors versus no damn Heat. I don't know about y'all, but that's what I want to see. But anyways, Richy Rich, what you got to say, man?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
My bad. I forgot to take it off mute, guys. That last game, boy, hey, that was an exciting game to watch, man. None of those teams wanted to lose, but we knew somebody was going to wilt at the end, and somebody was going to have to win that game. But Toronto, you got to give it to them, man. That's a team, that has a lot of moxie. They're gutsy, man. They're scrappy. They won the championship. They don't have Kawhi Leonard. They don't have Danny Green on that team no longer, but they still have that championship mentality, man. And you see it like how Jalik the leader mentioned about Kyle Lowry, man. This is a guy, man. His whole I don't recognize him, man. Ever since he won that championship, man, this guy has become. He's a different player on the floor. You see it, man. He leaves everything on the floor. You gotta respect that dude, man. That dude, he is gonna make sure if you gonna beat that guy, it's gonna take everything out of you to eliminate a player like him, because that's the type of player he's turned into. He's a champion, so he approaches the game differently now. So it's good to see him. It's just like how Dirk Nowitzki, these guys, they got these labels on them. What we call them chokers, we call them guys that just can't do it. But when they finally do it, they become different players, and you see that. But he got gamers on that team, and Bleak, a big shot maker on that team. Plus that other dude they had coming off the bench, man. He's another one that helped them win Game 6. I gotta remember his name. His name is not has escaped my mind for a second. I'm gonna remember his name.
Rich.
What's up?
Rich, I got you. Norman Powell.
Yeah, Norman Powell. That dude came in and had a big game for him. But Boston Celtics, man, they let this series get out of control, because they are not a team that you could see it, man. They're a team. They're not a disciplined team. They were up on. They had this team up. They were up on this team by double digits in Game 6 and Game 5. They let this team do it. No, Game 6 and Game 4, because they won Game 5. They blew them out in Game 5. Game 6 and Game 4. They were up on these teams on Toronto by double digits. They let Toronto claw back in, and Toronto managed to win those games. Boston Celtics is showing signs of not having a killer mentality. And if they find a way to win this series, which they should win tonight, because they have the more talented team. They have a team. They have rising stars. We're not calling them superstars. Jason Tatum is a rising star in this league. Jaylen Brown, he has potential to be a rising star, but these guys, they don't have a killer mentality. They're the type of players, if they get a lead, they don't keep the foot on the pedal. They don't keep the foot on the neck. They like to take risks, and we know what happens when you do that. If you can't show you can close anybody out, then you're not ready for the big stage, because you're not gonna be. You're not. Imagine if they get and they play the Heat, they won't be able to match the Heat's intensity the way the Heat are playing out there. The Heat will edge them out, even though if they don't have Gordon Hayward right now, because he had that ankle sprain, but if they get advanced, if they win tonight, they're supposed to get Gordon Hayward back. That's going to, improve their depth because that's a 17 to 18 point per game score added onto their team. You know what I'm saying? So he helps out a lot. Plus, Brad Stevens, he's a good coach. The problem is, I just think he thinks too much out there. I'm surprised he didn't have Enes Kanter playing some minutes in this series. You see Toronto is playing their bigs out there, and they're getting rebounds. They're getting key rebounds on the Celtics, and that's affecting the Celtics down the stretch. Enes Kanter is a dude that can get rebounds down low. He can get offensive rebounds. He can draw fouls, and he can get and he has some post moves. I'm surprised because there's too much perimeter play. There's too much, like responsibility being put on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to have to score from the perimeter. You're gonna need some interior points. Why is Enes Kanter not playing? People got to come at Brad Stevens on this. Like, why are you not playing this guy in this series? Because sometimes you need a different look in the series. Ibaka's killing them on the boards. He's blocking shots. Because imagine if Enes Kanter, he'll be able to draw fouls on Gasol and Ibaka. Enes Kanter is a solid player, man. They got some depth on this team. When Gordon Hayward is there, they have depth. Because now you got that extra scoring from Gordon, and you got a big that can actually score. Enes Kanter can't play defense if his life depended on it. But as an offensive player, that guy is solid, man. He can get you offensive rebounds. He can score, and he can draw fouls on bigs. So Brad Stevens, man, you need to play this dude in this last game if you want a chance. But I expected Boston to beat these guys in 6 games at least, man, because 3 years ago, this team was in the Eastern Conference Championship playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were playing against LeBron. They took LeBron to 7 games, man. They just were a young team, man. In this NBA, it's rare to see young teams go to the finals and win a championship. There's a pecking order to this stuff, which is rare. We seen Magic Johnson win as a rookie. But you don't really see that a lot, in the NBA. Normally, teams got to go through a trial period, So I didn't expect the Celtics to beat LeBron James 3 years ago. But this year, I expect to at least see Boston Celtics. They were my dark horse to come out of the East, man, and represent the East in the finals. You got to respect what the Heat is doing. But this is just the first year of the Heat doing what they've been doing. Look where the Heat are at right now. It's because once again, hats off to Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra. They doing great things now over here. But the Boston Celtics, man, they've been at this for 3 years, man. They shouldn't be having these issues right now. There's a cause for concern right there because you got to start paying attention to Brad Stevens, man. Like, what's going on? Are the players tuning you out? Are they not listening? You know what I'm saying? You should at least have a finals appearance by now. It hasn't happened. This year is the perfect year for it to happen. You got to knock off these Raptors. They don't have a Kawhi Leonard out there. They shouldn't be giving you problems like this. They're a scrappy bunch, but they shouldn't be giving you problems. We always see these teams that are scrappy. They know they're not supposed to be taking you to 7 games, at least 6, not 7. So those guys, man, they need to develop a killer instinct tonight, or I don't know what's up with this team. Because the East, you know how it is. The Brooklyn Nets, man, when KD and Kyrie Irving come out there, Steve Nash come out there, man, they looking to take that Eastern Conference, man. It's going to be a whole different looking conference next season. So, and more competitive. So, take advantage of the opportunity. Carpe diem, seize the moment. Because if you don't, you might not have that moment again.
Lewis, man. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Richy Rich got me on today. I got a couple of extra things I gotta add on to that, because when I look at this series this is the type of series that you would have loved to have the fans in, because everybody would have been so invested in this series with the way that it's gone back and forth. You got a little chippiness at the end of Game 6 with Marcus Smart and a little bit with Fred VanVleet and those guys. And like in the arenas, you would have felt it, man. The fans of Toronto and the fans in Boston and B-Town, I'm telling you, like it really would have felt like you would have really felt something like if there was fans in the building, man. But it's been a great series, but I hate to say this, man, but the Celtics should not have beaten the Raptors in 6. They should have swept them, and here's why. The reason they should have swept them is because if you look at the Raptors' body language after the first 2 games, they look like they were completely done. They were completely done. And they fought. Listen, and I give the Raptors credit because I'll give them credit like, through the 6, and they fought really hard. But let's be honest with you. Had Jaylen Brown not made that mistake and went away from OG Anunoby to get that 3-point shot. Now, obviously, it's a make or miss league. He can make it, he can miss it. He made it. So if that shot really gave the Raptors an opportunity to still be able to be in this series. He misses that shot, or at least if Jaylen Brown closes out on him, the Celtics would be up 3-0, and this series would probably pretty much be over. But then maybe you could probably say that they win in 6 and they win the next 2 games. But I honestly feel that the Celtics should have swept the Toronto Raptors because that was a 4-game sweep in my personal opinion. And then we got to give credit to Kyle Lowry because Anunoby hits that game-winning shot, and then Kyle Lowry comes back and gives you 31 points, was efficient, and then he helps tie that series up to make it even because the Celtics still had a chance. They could have went up 3-1. Then the Celtics, they blow out the Toronto Raptors off the gym. And I'm saying to myself, okay, let me see if this team has got the killer instinct to finish this team off. And then what happens in Game 6? Norman Powell off the bench. It's crazy. It's too bad. If he played more minutes, he would have been in the running for 6th man of the year. No, most improved player, because that dude coming off the bench, I'm telling you, man, that dude has been making big plays all season long, and he did it in Game 6. And then Kyle Lowry. I'm going to use what Anthony L. said, but I'm going to twist it around a little bit when it came to the Mamba Academy. The player from the Mamba Academy, Mr. Kawhi Leonard, is the biggest reason that Kyle Lowry is playing the way he's playing, because if you look how he played with DeRozan compared to how he played with Kawhi Leonard, the mindset is different. Kyle Lowry, and like Richy Rich, pointing off what Richy Rich was saying, off of that championship season that they had with Toronto, Kyle Lowry is a completely different player. He doesn't let anything faze him. He comes back, and it's like, even though he has a bad game, he's still going to give you everything that he has. Like he's showing you a fearless, the heart of a champion type of competitor that Kyle Lowry has. And like Anthony L. says, you cannot teach killer instinct. It's got to be in you. You got to either have it or you don't. And Kyle Lowry has shown me that he's done a really good job leading this team. And you got to give the Toronto Raptors a lot of credit. Without Kawhi Leonard, without Danny Green, and give Nick Nurse credit too, man. They have not lost that championship pedigree, that defensive pedigree. But this is why I need to get on the Boston Celtics, because Kemba Walker, my Bronx boy, man, 5 points last game, that ain't gonna cut it. That's one. But it's not really much of Kemba Walker. This is really more so Jason Tatum, and he knows the sport is right, because all I've heard from the moment that this guy got drafted, especially with what happened, as Richy Rich pointed out 3 years ago when they faced the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jason Tatum is showing himself like a superstar. It was the same thing that they were saying about Paul George when he went up against LeBron. Paul George is that superstar, and we come to find out there's no super in the star in Paul George. Paul George is an all-star, great defender, but he's not a superstar. Jason Tatum, he is a star on the rise, like Richy Rich said, and I 100% agree with him. But if he's going to reach superstar status, he's going to have to put up an all-time great performance in this Game 7. Because even if he gave you 25 points that last game, he minusculously disappeared in that fourth quarter and overtime in that Game 6. You cannot get outplayed by Kyle Lowry like that if you're going to be labeled as a superstar. I'm sorry. You just cannot. I think somebody was saying it, that he was kind of a little bit more of a glorified Allen Houston. But Allen Houston, I think, was a little more efficient than Jason Tatum was. And Allen Houston really didn't have the amount of opportunities, in big games like that now Jason Tatum has gotten the opportunity to play because they won 7 games with the Cavs. And remember, there was no Kyrie Irving. So I think what happened is that somebody said it in the comments. The Celtics fed into the media because of the success that they had in 2018 without Kyrie Irving and without Gordon Hayward. And if those two guys were there, the Celtics would have been in the finals going up against Golden State. And that would have been that really would have been a crazy matchup between those two teams, especially with how hard they play and how good defensively they are. But this is a big game for Jason Tatum because I know people want to get on Brad Stevens in terms of him possibly being on the hot seat, but no, this is Jaylen Brown. He's good. I don't think he'll ever be a superstar. That's just my personal opinion when I watch Jaylen Brown. He stepped up this year. He's been efficient, but the media is going to have to really eat their words because they're the ones, and I think Jason Tatum has kind of fed into that too. They're really going to have to eat their words if Jason Tatum don't show up today in that Game 7. And, as he knows, always likes to say, show up and show out. Because if Jason Tatum does not do that, I don't ever want to hear that Jason Tatum is a superstar. There is no super in your star. And at least for right now, because he's a young player, so he's got time. So depending on what Jason Tatum does, it's going to tell me whether he's just an all-star or whether he's a superstar. But until then, I can't call him that right now. I can't call him that. So this is on Boston because, like Richy Rich said, you cannot have a 2-0 lead. And Jalik said it too. You can't be up 2-0 and now you're in a do-or-die Game 7. The Raptors should not. The funny thing is I picked the Raptors in 7, but it wasn't in the way that I expected it to be. They should have been swept. They should have been swept. They should have been swept. They should have been gentlemen swept. They should have lost in 6. But here we are. We're in a Game 7. So anything can happen. My worry with the Raptors really more so is you got Fred VanVleet. Obviously, he's a big shot maker, as Richy Rich said. I'm wondering if he's going to show up in Game 7. Pascal Siakam, for somebody who averages 23 points per game, the fact that he's been outplayed this entire bubble by a different player every single time, that just lets you know Pascal Siakam is not your number 1 option. He's arguably not even your number 2 option because when I look at Pascal Siakam's game, it's too raw for me to say that he could be somebody that I could depend on a nightly basis. Pascal Siakam had 10 points last game.
Yep.
Kyle Lowry had 33, and Norman Powell off the bench gave you 21. Those were the guys carrying, not Pascal Siakam. And those guys are not even number 2 players. So that's why when I look at that, I'm saying to myself, Pascal Siakam, no, with all due respect, good defender, but it's like he could be taken out of games when he doesn't produce offensively. And you see it. He still has to work on his game. And listen, he's young. I get all that. But the hype that he was getting, and a lot of it had to do with when Kawhi Leonard left, they're like, oh, Pascal's going to show up. Like, they're going to prove that they – listen, and I got to say this too. If the and again, salute to Toronto. They showed me something this year. I was one of those people that had them in the lower tier Eastern Conference, but I'm telling you right now, man, they deserve my props and much respect to them. But what ultimately is going to happen to them is they don't have that go-to guy. And this is where you need a Kawhi Leonard because last year in Game 7, Kawhi Leonard was there against Philadelphia. You can say all you want about he hit the luckiest shot in NBA history or whatever. But remember, Kawhi's calm demeanor is what helped the Raptors be able to continue to make plays late in games. And you need that Kawhi Leonard type of player. I don't know if Kyle Lowry is going to give me a back-to-back performance because Kyle Lowry tends to be inconsistent. Same thing with VanVleet. It's the inconsistency. And that's also where I question the Boston Celtics because they have not been able to put a string of good games together. That's an inconsistent basketball team. And I said that they were going to be inconsistent once they play Toronto because you really see who you really are once you face better competition. So this is on Jason Tatum right now. This has got to be his game. And I'm glad, and I'm gonna close it out on this. I'm glad that, and it's funny. I'm surprised. I'm glad that Richy Rich mentioned this. Enes Kanter is one of the best offensive rebounders in the game. He gives you second shot opportunities. For the life of me, I don't understand why Brad Stevens is not playing him because Serge Ibaka, even though he's become more of a stretch big, he's killing you guys on the rebounds, especially on the offensive rebounds. So Enes Kanter should be in there because Enes Kanter is a good player. He gives you second shot opportunities, and he could score the rock. Listen, you would think a guy like him is like, yo, you know, he's not really the fastest and stuff like that. But the thing is, Enes Kanter can play. He could. It's like the thing is, he's a guy that could quietly give you like 19, 20 points, and then next thing you know, he's got 13 to 15 rebounds. But why? It's because he puts in that work on that offensive glass, and he's a good rebounder. He's not the best defender or anything like that. He's not a great defender, but when it comes to impact on the boards, he's somebody that I would put in, especially in a game 7. The fact that Brad Stevens has not done that is just beyond me. So if he doesn't put him in the game and I don't see him playing, because look, they already got a mismatch with Daniel Theis over Marcus Gasol. Marcus Gasol, he looks out of shape to me, and Daniel Theis is too athletic and too quick for him. So I would come back, and then when they come with Serge Ibaka, I would come back and put him in there because he's going to give you the rebounding that the Celtics need. You don't want to give the Raptors second chances, especially because this is a game 7 for the Marlins. You got a chance to face the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And a lot of people were saying possibly Celtics Heat. And that, with all due respect to Toronto, it's a sexier matchup when you look at Boston against Miami. So on the end of the day, I actually picked Boston to win this game. But they're going to make me look bad if Jason Tatum don't show up. And if Enes Kanter doesn't come in this game. If Toronto kills them on the boards, I don't see the Boston Celtics winning this game because they're the more talented team. Toronto is deeper, but the Celtics are more talented than they are. So with their talent, they are going to have to show themselves and show out because if they don't, it's not going to be a good look with Toronto because they led 2 games to none. And the thing is, they won those games convincingly. It wasn't just the fact that they just barely escaped. They beat them convincingly in the first 2 games. And now the Raptors are showing that they're the better team when the games are tight. So the Celtics have got to show me they can win close games because when the games are out of reach, they can. It's easy. Like they're the better team, but they have to show me that they can win them close. And the Raptors in this series, they've won the close games. So if this game is close, I got Toronto. But if they're able to win, double digits, I got Boston. If the talent shows up, but Jason Tatum, listen to me, bro. You want that superstar status? You want the media, slurping on you and saying that you're a superstar? You better have an all-time great performance because if you don't, I don't ever want to hear the media say that this guy's a superstar. Giggity goddamn. Stick it, throw it away the goddamn key, man. And that's all I got to say about that.
There you go, man. So we're going to have some quick closing thought predictions, man, for tonight's game. We're going to start off with Jalik, the leader. What's your quick prediction on the Celtics and the Raptors and the Clippers and the Nuggets? Who you got winning tonight in both games?
With the Raptors, and it's probably going to go to overtime again. It's going to go down because they ain't going to give up like that because I don't know. I would get him out of there, or I'd do a trade and try to get a first-round pick for him because he's probably under contract. So sometimes you can do that with the coach. And then I got the Nuggets is going to lose tonight. And that'll let the Clippers get some rest because I think it's going to start on Monday. It's all up now. And if Houston lose tomorrow, then the Western Conference Finals should start on Monday if they win tonight. So that's what I'm thinking. So that's the thing that we want to see. But the Eastern Conference Finals is just as popping though. Miami versus whoever is going to be popping, bro. It's usually one, the Western or whatever it used to be better, but yeah, that's who I got. I got the Nuggets losing, and I got the Celtics losing. Even though I picked them to go to the finals, but I don't know, bro. They doing some abnormal stuff, bro. That's not championship stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richy Rich, what's your closing predictions on both scenarios? You on mute?
I keep forgetting I clicked that thing. Yeah, but I got the same picks as Jalik, the leader, man. The Nuggets are gonna be done tonight, man. The Clippers, they're they're locked in now, and they want to bring in that mentality that they and those expectations that's being brought on them they want to take this thing serious. You know, Doc Rivers seemed like he finally got some of those guys on the team on the right track, you know, because he's always talking to those guys. And, you know, they finally paying attention to Kawhi, you know what I'm saying? It's like how Lowry was when Kawhi was on that team last year. And, you know, he didn't want to be that guy that didn't show up. You got Kawhi out there balling like that, and you not doing nothing. And, you know, the media's going to come after you, man. At the end of the day, some of these players care what the media say. You know, when you look at DeMar DeRozan, you look at Kevin Love, these dudes got mental issues, man. So some of these players, man, these players, they care what the media say, and it bothers them. So these guys, I expect the Clippers to lock in and handle business tonight. PG, who had depression or something, he's gonna lock in and do what he got to do because he don't want to be blamed for not showing up. You know, when you got your clear cut alpha going out there and putting those lines that he's doing, playing both ends on the court every night. The Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. The Boston Celtics will win tonight, man, because they have to, pretty much. Because we've been hearing so much about how this young team was gonna be the team to dominate that conference for these past couple of years, but they haven't done it. You know what I'm saying? And in this series, man, they're showing they don't have that killer instinct. So tonight they're going to have to show that. They're gonna have to show people that they can hang, that Milwaukee turned out to be a fluke team. You know, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, you already know Miami Heat, man, it's gonna be a dogfight. Whoever's in that next round is gonna be in a dogfight with that Miami Heat team. So if Boston comes out, maybe this series prepared Boston for that series to come, because Toronto, man, they are a very scrappy team. And you know, they show that they don't have no quit in it. They got nothing but fight in it. So if Boston wins tonight, man, this series is gonna help them out a lot in the next series, in the next round. So my picks are Clippers and Boston.
Okay, Lewis, man, what's your closing thoughts on the picks for both scenarios tonight?
In terms of the Clippers and the Nuggets, I think the way the game is going to go is I think the Nuggets are going to come off. They're going to get to a really good start, knowing what happened in the fourth quarter of games 3 and 4. And I think they're going to come out with a sense of urgency. The key for the Clippers is if they get off to a slow start, they have to weather the storm and not allow it to get out of hand to the point where they don't win and then they end up playing another game. So, but I think the Nuggets are going to come out with a solid start. I think the Clippers are going to read what they're trying to do because, again, the Nuggets are going to play off of emotion and desperation because they're down 3-1. And they was just 3-1 against the Jazz. But, again, the Jazz are not the Clippers. So if you're the Clippers, you want to keep in mind that the Jazz had a 3-1 lead and they blew it. And you don't want this thing going up to a game 6. So you got to have the mindset of finishing teams off. You got to end them now. I think that Kawhi Leonard is going to do it. I think Paul George is going to stay out of foul trouble. And I think that Paul George is going to compliment Kawhi tonight. And I think look for the Clippers defense to be very stout in this game. And I think we're going to get an all-around contribution from everybody. So Nuggets, good young team. But I think the Clippers, they got the mindset of closing this thing out because, and like I said, I hope Doc is telling his guys that take care of this. Don't look ahead. Focus on what's in front of you right now. So then we can think ahead once we end this over. And Doc already even said it, man. They haven't accomplished anything yet. And because the Clippers have to have that mindset. Our job is not done. Work is not done. We haven't got anywhere yet. So they're trying to get to their first conference finals. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment, but I think it would definitely be bigger if they're able to get to the finals. So that would be even bigger. But I think they close it out tonight, and they end the Nuggets season. As far as the Celtics and the Raptors, this is a toss-up just because the interesting part about this game 7 is because I got to see if Boston is going to have that mindset of we're going to win. And if the game is close, we're not going to waver. So the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at these two leaders in this aspect. Marcus Smart is the emotional vocal leader of the Boston Celtics, but Jason Tatum has to lead by example with his scoring and impact the game. So those two guys, in my opinion, have got to set the tone for this Boston Celtics team. Jason Tatum has got to be there from start to finish, especially late in the game. And Marcus Smart has just got to be vocals, continuing to get on these guys to keep them mentally focused and just keep them fresh and just don't let the foot off the gas pedal. They got to stay in this game. And I got the Boston Celtics winning because I think Toronto is going to put up a good fight, and they're not going to go away. And Jalik has a good point. I think it possibly might go overtime again. But like I said with Boston, if you don't want that thing to go to overtime, and you got to remember that, because I actually got more faith in the Raptors if they let this game go into overtime than Boston if they don't take care of business right away. And I just think ultimately for Toronto, I don't know who's going to show up besides Kyle Lowry because, like Richy Rich said, that's why I said the Mamba student Kawhi Leonard, when he came onto this team, you see the difference in the way Kyle Lowry's playing and the way he's thinking now in terms of his mindset. So can Kyle Lowry put in another good game for a consecutive game to really, put the imprint, but he's going to need help. So I'm looking at Norman Powell. Hopefully he could give them something, again, like he did in Game 6. Fred VanVleet's got to be there for Game 7. So they're going to need it from the guards if they're going to win this. If they're going to win this game and, obviously ultimately win the series. But I think with what Boston has happened, and I think Kemba Walker is going to put in a great game in this game. I think so. And I got the Boston Celtics winning this game in a close one. But I don't think this game goes to overtime, in my opinion. I think they win it in the fourth quarter. And I got to end it on this. With all due respect to the Raptors, this is why you need a Kawhi Leonard in a game like this. Now that if they end up losing this game, I don't ever want to hear that we was able to win without Kawhi, because now that's what you need. That's what you need, that quiet alpha. As Jalik, how he says it, the leader of the introverts. You need that leader of the introvert, man, that lead the introverted alpha. You're going to need him in this game because you needed him last year against Philly, and he was able to deliver, and now you need him in this type of game against the Boston Celtics because I think the Raptors will be in a better position. They still got a chance to win, but Kawhi Leonard would be so huge right now for this team if they had him right now, and he would even be even bigger, in the next series, man, going up against the Miami Heat. But I just think that, this Cinderella fairy tale run, man, has come to an end for the Toronto Raptors, in my opinion, and I think Boston will win it, and they go up against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, man.
Perfect, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. This is a hell of a panel. Jalik, the leader, man, you're getting better and better each and every stride. Richy Rich, appreciate you, man. As always. Lewis, as always, you already know, man. You might as well say we cut from the same blood, man. We just do it differently. So that's a brother that I respect. I always respect his contributions. I'm glad you guys showed up and showed out on the panel. Thank you guys for your support. Make sure you guys check Lewis out because I know he's going to be covering the game. For those that are boxing fans that's going to stick around, I'm going to be covering this boxing live stream. So make sure those that are new to the channel, y'all subscribe to my brother Lewis Sports Network's channel. Comment, like, and share. Subscribe to Jalik Leader's channel. Comment, like, and share. Richy Rich, thank you once again for all that you brought up. It seems as if in the sequence when you and Lewis are paired together, you guys buffer off of each other's points and you guys amplifies each other's points. So that's great, man. I like that synergy. I like, the way that you guys explain the game of basketball and how you guys break down how this NBA playoffs is going to play out. And usually when you guys see that I'm quiet, that means I'm just soaking gems in. That means everybody is dropping gems, man. So there's no need for me to drop gems on top of the gems that they've already been dropping. And people got to understand that sometimes in the panel, it's okay to sit back and have your learning lesson just like those that are in the chat, because at the end of the day, we got a quality panel here. Everybody's doing their thing. Everybody's showcasing to you their basketball wits, their basketball wherewithal. Jalik, we can finally graduate you from Boy Scout to actually Men Scout. You're still a scout, but you're a Men Scout now. So we're going to call you Men Scout. Those that are in the chat, appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Make sure y'all donate to the platform, Cash App, Super Chat, whatever you guys can donate your Sunday's best. We'll appreciate it. Richy Rich, thank you, man. You enjoy your TGIF Friday. Lewis, appreciate you, man. See you next week again, brother. Enjoy your TGIF Friday. Jalik, the leader, thank you for your recurring contributions. Yeah. And see you again next week, man. So you guys enjoy your Fridays. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Lewis, I see you in the gym, man. That's what's up, bro. You know what I'm saying? But this boy done let that damn beard grow out. That haircut didn't last long. I know next week he gonna be fresh again, man. Richy Rich, appreciate you, man. As always, thank you for dropping them gems. Jalik, appreciate you again. I'm always gonna give my appreciations to everyone that shows up and shows out, because people don't understand the time is the most important thing that you can offer, and the fact that you guys offer your time, you know, to this platform, I really appreciate that, and I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Thank you for all your contributions, and thank you for your support to this platform. I wouldn't be here, you know, this platform wouldn't be here without you guys, and hopefully we continuing to bring you guys that heat and that fire, and we keeping the foot on the what? On the next. And we keeping a foot on the what? On the next. So y'all enjoy those games. Y'all take care. Peace.
Peace.